What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Next Success. I'm Adam Bastian,
And I'm Skylar Beitendorp.
and today we're going to be talking about change, kind of what it is, maybe change we've gone through in our lives, and what it's done to us, and how to deal with it, good or bad. A couple weeks ago, I was thinking, a big reason we're talking about this is a couple weeks ago, I've been thinking a lot about change, just kind of what it was just on my mind, and I was at work, and I decided to started writing about it.
You know, it's kind of funny because I've had conversations with people in the past about, or like in the last couple of weeks, of just change happens to people, and who they are today is like different than a lot of people they know like a year ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's kind of
I
sick.
haven't thought about it in as much depth as you have, but it's weird. It's come up for me too. So
That's good. Then it's perfect.
yeah.
So we want to kind of open up with this thing, the first couple lines I wrote, and we'll just kind of go from there. Hopefully it's good. You guys think it's good? So I wrote, change may be tough, unexpected, and absolutely ruthless to your whole being. Change may also be foreseen, full of love and intimate. It varies every time. Not a single moment of change is exactly the same. It is unique. What do you think about that?
I think that, I don't know, it's kind of like some change we can see coming, some we can't. And I think it's the changes that we can't see coming in our lives that impact us the most. But that's kind of a little bit of what I got out of it.
I think that's the scariest part.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the unknown.
Like, yeah, when you don't know it's coming and it happens, freaks me out.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It can put us into a panic or like a fight or flight or,
Oh, heck yeah, man.
Can hit us like a train.
But I think the change that's foreseen, like what's I put in here, foreseen, full of, and intimate, I think that can also be scary.
Yeah.
You just don't really expect it. Like, I don't know. Like, you never really... I'll just go ahead and read the next part.
Yeah.
Because I talked about that. I said, foreseen change is particularly odd. When the news of change is brought to my attention, I have an immediate flow of emotion. I begin to develop a relationship with it. As time passes, however, those emotions begin to discreetly fade away from me. I forgot I had created that relationship, whether it was good or bad. I forget the magnitude of the upcoming event until it's peeking over the horizon of my life. I begin to see the reality of it running at me with a force so strong it could stop a moving train dead in its tracks. This is when the consequences become clear from that decision which was to change. Fear steps in, uncertainty begins to laugh at my face, and I'm left with the decision to become a prisoner by it or become a leader and lead it. And I think as I was writing that, where I was going with that is, I think I kind of described it pretty well. But, like, something's going to change. Something's coming. But you forget about it. Like, as time goes on, like I said in here, I develop a relationship with it, with the reality of my life changing or whatever. And then I forget about it because it's so far away. I'm not really affected by it immediately. And then I'm reminded by it as soon as I begin to see it begin to happen or it's about to happen. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like we know a lot of changes will happen in our life. We know one day we'll get married, one day we'll have kids, one day we'll retire or go on certain trips or whatever it may be. And we don't really think about them too much now because it's, far in the future. But once they start getting closer, I feel like if we don't think too much about those changes now, then when they do get closer, it's kind of like, I don't know, get a little anxious about those big changes, like moving or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah,
it's crazy. It's a weird thing to go through, and I think the interesting thing about change is everybody goes through it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
not a single person in this world that doesn't. It's a constant in our lives, and it will always happen. So, like, how are we going to deal with it, though? That's like I put in here. Are you going to become a prisoner to it, or are you going to become a leader and lead it? And I'll just read the next part too, since we're kind of going with it.
Yeah.
And then I asked a question. I said, what does it look like to be a prisoner to change? that I wrote, being held captive to change looks and feels different to everybody. Sometimes we don't even recognize that we are in fact in captivity. We become content with our circumstances or have been stuck for so long, we begin to feel that that is what freedom feels like. We are manipulated by the changes around us that we lose our individuality. We aren't becoming the person we are born to be, we are becoming the person everyone else wants us to be. And I'm not really sure exactly what I was feeling when I wrote that, but it just kind of came out.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of, I've been a victim, I think, to change where I think what I mean by that, like being a prisoner, being held in captivity by it, is like I put in here, we're content with our circumstances or have been stuck for so long we begin to feel that this is what freedom feels like. Like we don't really care what happens around us. We're just like, well, I'm happy, I think. Or you just kind of lose your care for the world or your care for yourself. And whatever happens, you're just like, whatever happens, happens. And then so we stop trying to like go out and do something about our lives and go out and try to change it ourselves and, be the leader of our lives. That we let everything else change us and we lose our sense of identity. We lose our individuality and we just become what everybody else is.
Mm-hmm.
Manipulated by the world in so many ways.
Which I think is really easy to do, is just kind of go with the flow, and what other people are doing, we do that because it's easy. It's kind of just floating with the change that happens to us, but also the change that happens to the people around us too. Like I feel like we're really influenced by the people we have around us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it's just like changing on purpose and not just letting things happen so slowly that you don't even realizing you're changing. Because I think a lot of people, like if you're listening to this, you're changing right now. You're changing listening to this. You're changing every single day. And if you don't do it on purpose, you'll eventually be somewhere. I don't know. There's a good chance you could be somewhere in a year that you don't want to be, or have not, hit your goals, or just like, change on purpose. Be conscious of it.
Yeah, don't be pushed around. I think that's kind of maybe that's what I was getting at when I wrote this.
Yeah.
And I even wrote in this finish later because I had an idea when I started writing it, I was like, oh, I need to finish this, or there's a lot more, but it's been like, it says 10 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what I was going to write. So I don't know. I'm just going to let it roll, and that's just what it's going to be. But yeah, I think Skylar, you're right about that. Like, we can't just like float through life. It's like a shipwrecked ship. It's just driftwood. It's manipulated by the waves of the ocean, by the currents of the ocean. But a ship that's intact, it controls where it goes. I mean, it might have to fight the ocean to get to its destination and fight the waves. But it's intact, and it has everything it needs to get to where it wants to go. But it just needs to work to get there. But as soon as that ship wrecks, the ship goes anywhere the ocean wants it to go. Whether that be to the bottom of the ocean, whether that be to the east, west, north, or south, doesn't matter. It's completely up to the ocean. So,
I like that.
Are you an intact ship or are you shipwrecked?
Yeah.
Are you a shipwrecked ship, Skylar?
Am I? I don't know. Well, I feel like I really like that a lot. I feel like what you just said is basically, if we take care of ourselves, it's almost like we can steer our ship, like we can steer our life
Well, dago.
in the way we want to.
Well, I didn't think about that.
That's kind of what I was hearing. It's like, man, if we maintain ourselves emotionally, physically, spiritually, then we're more equipped and ready to handle the changes that happen in our life and go in the direction we want to go. Point that sail where we want to go versus where life takes us, instead of being tossed and turned by the waves.
That's true. I guess we can look at that too, like the changes of life. It's like the waves of the ocean. Like the ocean changes, the direction of the ocean changes. And as I said in there, like we can become a prisoner by it, or we can become a leader and lead it. So we can take those things and lead it and lead our lives wherever we want to go, despite the things that are happening around us.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of sweet.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
That's kind of dope.
I just had a thought. Because I think changes will happen, and they can hurt us, or they can like lift us up. And I think whether they hurt us or lift us up is kind of our choice. What we choose to do with the changes that happen in our life. Like if something, quote, if air quotes, bad happens to us, we can choose to eventually come out of that bad thing stronger or in a better place than we were before,
Or shipwrecked.
or end up shipwrecked.
Daggum.
Exactly. Yeah. Because I feel like there's definitely things that have happened in my life, and I've let it shipwreck me for a while. And then like as I, gain life experience and move forward in life, I'm like, oh, okay. Since that happened, I'm able to better handle the situation that just happened in my life, or whatever it may be. But it's like I feel like almost all the time in my life I can look back at a bad experience and see how it's made me stronger and changed me for the better ultimately. But I've chosen to look at it that way and not to see things as I don't know, just like a terrible experience in my life.
Like dams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Giant walls preventing you to grow and flow
yeah.
like a river.
And I think we build our own dams.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
we stop ourselves a lot of the time from moving forward. Because I think when something happens, I start to tell this story about myself, about how I can't handle this situation again, or
Sob story.
yeah, and
Woe is me.
woe is me. Exactly. I feel like we're greatly influenced by the stories we tell ourselves. Like we're our own greatest like critic and I don't know, like coach in life in a way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's like super easy to do that. Like to feel that way, especially when something happens. And it's hard to tell if like a situation will really like cause you to like put up a dam in your life or allow you to like go free and flow freely or willingly or whatever way you want. But I think like you can only really tell by like looking backward. Like you can't really like if something will happen to you and you don't really understand it. At least like staring at it in the face because you're so close to it, and it's not until you like back up and you look back at the experience, what happened, I think you can kind of get the whole vision of what like the reality and the real consequences and the like what's really going to happen as a result of that experience. So I was thinking about it yesterday because I mean there's a lot of things in my life that happened to me that I don't really particularly understand completely, and it's frustrating, it's aggravating for sure. But I like to go for walks. Just I don't know. Like I went for it's probably like a 3-mile walk yesterday.
whoa.
Just to think about my life, like who I was, what I'm doing, what I want to do with my life, and what's going on and how I can fix it. And it gives me a time to like reflect on things I've gone through. And it was peaceful. Like I wouldn't say I sorted anything out, but I would say I felt way better afterward. But it gave me a chance to kind of look at the things and analyze the things that's happening in my life and see why they really happened, and then what my next course of action should be and what I should do. And so I think when something happens that like makes us change, I think being able to step back shortly after the situation and to look back at it, we'll be able to understand why it happened and then what direction we need to take. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I would challenge anyone listening to this: if you have something in your past that was, and you label it bad or just an awful experience, look at what you've learned from it. Look at how you've grown since then and how you're going to be able to handle that in the future, and what you're going to be able to teach other people, teach your own kids because of that, quote, bad experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've done that, it makes those bad experiences, like I can look back and be like, that was a tough time in my life, but it was like a positive thing now. It's added to who I am, a positive, like if you think of positive and negative, if I have a negative experience, it would take away from me. And if I go through something hard and it adds to who I am and shapes me into a better person, it's a positive thing because it's adding to me.
Yeah.
So it's, I think just changing our mindset and how we look at things can greatly impact how we look at life. And you're totally right. Life makes the most sense looking backwards because we can connect the dots and see why things happened to be able to get us to where we're at today. Like, it's cool. Like, sometimes I think about that, like today, like whatever's happened today, sometimes I think about what I'm going to be doing in a year from now and how today will connect to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I don't know, it's kind of cool to think about. But
It is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I agree. Like, yeah, we never know. Life's a party and a half.
Yeah.
It changes every day.
Every day.
I change every day.
Do you have any changes coming up in your life, and how are you I don't know, dealing with that or preparing for those changes?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I mean, I have like a
Or maybe even something in the past, or I know, like, everyone listening, we don't really plan these episodes. Like, we plan them a little bit, but a lot of these are kind of on the spot questions. They're pretty authentic.
I mean, I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shoot for authenticity.
Yeah.
I feel like that's where the power comes from.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from lying. It's from real life experiences that are unique, and you get to hear a different perspective maybe than you had.
Yeah.
I would say, like, I don't know, like with changes that's happened in my life.
Happened or coming up.
Like, it's just like I don't know. Like, it's hard to deal with change for sure. Like, I just changed schedules at work, and I work 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. and that's like kind of tough.
Yeah.
And before I was working 12s, and that was better than the swing shift. And I think the reason why it's hard for me is, like, at least on the 12s, I'd wake up and I'd go to work. And then I had to look forward to in my day was to get off work and to go do something else. But now I get up and I don't have to go to work for another 8 hours. So I have to look forward to going to work to get off to go to bed.
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's tough. And my first day on the shift, it was super hard because I woke up and I immediately realized, like, I wake up alone, and then I went to work, and I was like, I went to work alone. I didn't walk in with anybody. And then I get off work at 10, and I leave work alone because I don't leave with anybody. And then I get home and I'm alone. And I just do that every day. And that's how it was. And that was super, super hard. And it's still kind of hard, but you just get used to it. I realized, last week I was so stressed about it. I was like, it's going to happen whether I want to, like whether I want it to happen or not. I can't really change it. I can't control that. But what I can control is my attitude towards it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't have to be this bitter creature of straight up garbage, because then I'm not going to be happy at all. Like, I'm not going to find any good to do in it. And I was like, well, I can change my attitude towards it. I don't have to be super bitter about it. I don't have to be happy. Like, I don't have to be like content with it and pleased. But I can be happy with what I do have. Like, I have my mornings. I can make it work. And so with that change in my life, I kind of dealt with, like, the way I dealt with it, I guess, is the way I'm still dealing with it is, like, I don't have exactly what I want, but I can feel exactly the way I want. Like, I can choose my feelings. I can choose my heart. I can choose what I feel like. Like, I can't choose my circumstances. And it's made all the difference. I'm a lot happier than I was a week ago.
That's good.
Yeah. I think that's a way I deal with some change. Most change in my life is some things you just can't change. And you can't have exactly what you want. But if life was fair, a fair is a place where you go see the pigs. Life isn't fair.
Yeah, I like that.
Life isn't fair.
I liked when you talked about, like, you choose how you see it. You choose, like, how you feel about it. And I didn't realize for a long time that we do get to choose how we feel. on a lot of things. And maybe not up front. Like if someone breaks my heart, like I'll feel sad at first. And after some time, I choose to let those feelings flow through me. And then afterwards I get to look at it as a positive experience, be like, all right, I'm just gonna meet someone even better. Or they were just like a stepping stone to my person. And I learned a lot from them and I'm grateful for them. But I get to choose how I feel and think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I liked how you said that, because I feel like some people don't realize that they don't have to be stuck in their feelings. I think it's healthy to let them flow through you,
Mm-hmm.
but then choose them after a while.
Yeah. You are the captain of your ship.
You know? Totally. I think everything in our life, we get to choose. I think every situation we're in can be changed. Like you're the sum of all the choices you've ever made in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Places you've worked, people you've hung out with, organizations you've been involved in, and those ultimately make up who we are. Our days, every day becomes just our whole life. How we spend our days, how we spend our lives ultimately.
Mm-hmm.
So we choose it all.
So what about like the changes that we kind of wrought upon ourselves that aren't necessarily good? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Like we choose to do something that isn't necessarily a good decision, and as a result, the consequences is something negative. Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Slap us with some wisdom, Skylar.
Okay, like like a situation where we think we're doing something good, but something bad happens.
Or maybe we know it's not good, but we choose to do it anyway, and then something bad happens as a result, or something like a negative thing happens as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I think like what comes to mind is like addictions or just like no self-control. I think when we know something's bad, it's because of a lack of self-control. And
I never thought about that.
yeah, it's like
like when you choose to do something bad because you know it's bad, you think it's because we don't have any self-control to not do it?
Yeah, like the definition of an addiction is knowing something's not good for us and continuing to do it anyway. Like we know all the negative, we know it's not going to benefit us at all.
Didn't know that.
But that's one definition, there's multiple definitions.
Well, daggum.
So, yeah, I mean, I've definitely made choices that I knew like this isn't good. And I think sometimes I justify those in the moment. And, the aftermath sucks, especially if there's people I have to tell about it. Because I don't know, I feel like anything I'll say bad that I've ever done, it always comes to light to someone at some point. And so.
And you're never really free of the consequences either. Like,
yeah, not really.
They always come back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, we get to choose our choices. We don't get to choose our consequences.
Yeah.
The aftermath of it.
They haunt you like a ghost.
Yeah. Did I answer your question? I can't remember exactly what you asked.
It sounds like you did.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think there's also a lot of grace we need to give ourselves too when we make a bad choice and have a bad outcome.
But I think like knowingly making that like a bad choice.
Yeah. It's like forgive yourself, but we knew that wasn't the best thing, and maybe you didn't fully realize it till after.
Yeah. Like we all knowingly make wrong choices. Like that's just who we are as human beings. Like it's just part of our soul, like our innards.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Like that's just life. But I think being upset about the consequences as a result of you knowingly doing something bad, I don't know. I don't think you should be that upset.
Yeah.
Because you already knew what was going to happen. Like you can be sad, but to be super upset and like distraught over it, like you kind of did that to yourself, And so don't expect.
Yeah, I think
don't expect just like grace right off the bat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like acknowledge what happened, acknowledge what you did or the situation you're in. Look at what you learned, and then forgive yourself and move on. Like there's no point in living in the past. If you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. Like we kind of just have to focus on the now. And you know, I mean, we know tomorrow's coming and prepare for that. And I feel like a lot of the bad choices I've made come off of impulse.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think about it for over 24 hours before I made that choice. And then there's usually like kind of a negative outcome.
Yeah. I mean, working at a prison, I talk with people like that all the time. They're always, I wish I would have never done that, or they don't understand, or they're mad about their circumstances. They're like, this sucks. Prison's horrible. You guys treat us like garbage. When in reality, we don't. Some officers do, but for the most part, we don't. And we have to do our job. So when they do something horrible, we have to step in and do something about it, which is typically a punishment or there's a consequence to their, like if they want to go and fight somebody, like we're going to pepper spray them. Like,
Yeah.
and then they're like, you guys suck. And we're like, wait, you can't fight.
Yeah.
Like it creates issues. It's like, you start stabbing your buddy, it's like, you can't do that, And then like, you guys are horrible. And we're like, well, why are you here?
Yeah.
And like, it's because the police suck. It's like, no, because you did a crime. Like,
Yeah.
like you're a felon, and they just don't get it a lot of times. Or the ones that they do, they're like they come to they realize the reality of their situation and they want to change it. And then they realize that what they had was good and that they screwed it up because of a decision that they made. And they wish they could go back and get what they had before. And so now they're at this constant like battle of trying to get back of what they had because they knew it was good and it was actually the right thing for them, or trying to move on past it. But it's hard to watch people go through that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times we know the outcome of. I think a lot of times we do know the outcome of what our choices are going to do. I know if I work out, I'm going to get stronger. I know if I eat that donut late at night right
Swole
before
Patrol.
bed, I'm going to feel like crap if I eat that. And I think a lot of times it's like, if you make the choices out of love, like loving yourself, loving the people around you, there's very few times I've ever had any sort of regret towards that when it's out of love. Love for myself, like eating healthy, working out, reading books, being around positive people. It's all because I love myself and I want myself to grow and to be better and healthier and smarter versus, I don't know, doing drugs. Because I know that's like, maybe that'll feel good for a second. I've never done drugs, so I don't really know. But people say it's awesome. But then I see the people that do, I don't know, things a lot, and they start to age extremely fast, or they don't feel motivated, or they get addicted to stuff.
Oh, because there's like an instant high with those things.
Yeah, instant gratification.
And where there's a high, there's going to be a crash.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's your fuel. If you're fueled by those types of things. And like if you only have enough fuel in your plane to get up to the top, like you're going to have no fuel to get back down safely, and you're going to crash.
Yeah. And I'm not saying those things are necessarily inherently bad or anything. It's whatever you want and choose for your life, what works for you. I just know, like, I don't know, there's a chance of addiction, and I know it won't ultimately add to my life. It's kind of fake pleasure, because it's not going to stay. It's there because of something else I brought in. Mm-hmm. It's not because I created anything or built anything. And there's crashes like that with like caffeine.
Yeah, with everything.
Or sugar.
With everything, there's a crash.
Or like if I'm around a lot of people for a long time, I can't wait to get home and be alone and just sit on the couch and,
detox.
Let's go. I think with a lot of things, there's some like downtime needed.
Mm-hmm.
So, changes. If you're going through change, choose the change. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it happens. But we're in a lot more control with it than I think sometimes we think we are.
Mm-hmm.
So if something happens, good or bad, or if you feel like it's bad, like you can always change it to be Like, you got to choose to lead it. You got to choose to be the captain of your ship and not get shipwrecked by the change of the ocean. You need to be a captain and lead it.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest parts about life is we get to choose. We get to choose almost everything. Like, and there's so much power in that, because if I need to make a change in my life and I'm not sure what it is, and I just pick something and choose something and go with it, and it ends up being the wrong choice or not what I'm looking for in life, I can always go back. I can always make a different choice. I can always reroute what way I'm going. So I'll tell somebody, listen to this, if you are going through change in your life, or you have something that you know you need to make a choice on, it's like, make a choice, choose something, I mean, use your brain, like kind of weigh out the options. And if it ends up not being the right thing, there's no, like, very few things are set forever in life. You can always go back and change it and ultimately choose your life. So,
Yeah. And personally, I'm like by no means a master at it. Even though I write about these things and I think about these things constantly, I'm by no means a master at doing it. Like, there's a lot in my life that's happening right now that I'm like, I don't know how to deal with it. And I'm like, ugh, like, and it stresses me out. And it stresses me out, and I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
But you just kind of have to roll with the punches sometimes, and make it work. So life's a weird gig.
Life is a weird gig.
Yeah, it's a weird gig.
It's fun.
Oh, it's a good time.
It's fun. Sometimes it's not
It's
so
a bad
fun.
time too.
It's a good and a bad time. And that's what makes it life, is the good and the bad.
So profound.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Changed my life. But yeah, it's like we're by no means masters at this, but these are just things we love to talk about. Like, I feel like discussion, like conversations like this, even thoughts that you have by yourself, like having conversation by yourself. Like, I do that a lot. Like, I talk to myself all the time. Like, it's kind of weird.
I do that too. I don't think it's weird.
And it's like, but like I have a conversation with myself and I ask myself questions. And I think as we do that, or as we talk about this with other people, or as we're actively trying to keep our minds thinking about some of these things, like, that promotes good, positive change in our lives. And that changes ourselves for the better. And then we're well more equipped to help other people that need that too. You think about the greatest leaders, the guys and the women who've experienced crazy things. But it's not just that they experienced those things, that they were great leaders, is that they were able to share their experiences with other people and then lead them through a similar situation. They were personable. They were relatable. Yeah. They were friends.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants a tyrant for a leader, right, who just tells them what to do. And so, what are you going to do with yours? What do you do with your life?
Yeah.
Your change, your situations.
Yep, we get to choose. Well, I think we're about out of time. Getting closer. Anything else you want to add? Any more, I don't know, final last words of value you want to give?
Reiterate, life's a weird gig, but it'll work out.
It will work out.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah. Okay, my last thing.
Go for it.
I feel like a lot of times when we're going through something hard, going through a big change, it kind of feels like the world's caving in. Everything's going to end and stop. We're going to hate life. And anytime I've felt that way, it's just kind of got to give it time. And things always work out. They always work out for the better. And always come out stronger from it, even though it might not feel like it at the time. Just keep going, and everything will be all right. Everything will be good. A lot of times there's situations we can't change, but we can change our attitude towards it. and what we get out of it. Amen.
Nice.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Next Success. We've had a lot of fun talking about it and talking about this subject. And, every episode's a joy to do. We have a lot of fun. Well, if you got some value out of this, please leave a review on Apple, on Spotify. We'd love your feedback. We're on social media, Instagram, YouTube. You can watch these podcasts on YouTube too if you're just listening.
Mm-hmm.
And then feel free to share this with friends or family. If you feel like someone else could get something out of it, share it. It's really easy. There's a share button on your phone. You can just text it to the person you want to share it with. We'll most likely drop new episodes every Wednesday when we can. And so you can expect those Wednesday morning. Okay. We'll see you later.
Yep. See ya.